I ate only 1 meal a day for 50 days to see the impacts it would have on my life. I wanted to try this because, as we all know, fasting is becoming more and more popular. The OMAD diet is a very extreme fasting protocol. This is 23 hours fasting and 1 hour you get to eat your meals in. As we know, there are so many benefits to fasting that we are undiscovering now. We have been fasting for thousands of years, but it's only just coming back into science, and they are doing so much more research on it, and this is why it's becoming more and more popular in the current day we live in. I have seen people claim that they have got amazing benefits from doing an OMAD diet, which is intensive fasting. I've heard they get better mental health, better clarity, better focus, better body shape, better energy levels, helps with autoimmune diseases, gut issue, and the list goes on and on. Now, I wanted to try this for 50 days to see the impacts it would have on my body and to see if what these people were saying was actually true. In today's video, I'm going to tell you my experience with following the only 1 meal a day approach for almost 50 days now. First week I tried the only 1 meal a day approach. I felt very lethargic, I felt very fatigued, I felt very hangry, and this is simply because I was not used to fasting this intense for this amount of time. I'm used to doing a 16-8 approach, but recently I have been fasting less and less because I am trying to eat a lot more. But when I switched over to the OMAD diet, this was a lot more harder because I hadn't been fasting previously. First week was very tough. When I was doing my work, I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't very productive. I was very focused on food. I was very hungry, and this became quite an issue. I found that I'd had headaches a lot. This would only come around the times that I would have meals. In the day, I usually have meals between 12 p.m, 4 p.m, and 8 p.m. at night. It has changed recently since I've got back from Asia, but this is very a similar approach I follow. So at these times throughout the day, on the first week, I was just getting hunger at these times, and I would get a lot of lack of energy because it's basically your body saying that it wants you to eat. What I would do in this case on the first week is I would make sure I have electrolytes, and I would also make sure I'm drinking enough water. Most of us are just eating because that's the usual time we eat in the day, and you actually find that you're not hungry, you're either bored or your body is just used to eating at that time, or you are very emotional and this is why you want to eat. And this is what I started to learn on the first week of OMAD, is how much our emotions control the amount we eat and how often we eat. I was getting hungry when I was getting stressed or tired, and this meant that my appetite was a lot higher. On the days that I wasn't, I would feel a lot more happy with pushing through the hunger, and it became a lot easier. As we started to approach onto the second week, it seemed like my body was getting a lot better with the OMAD diet, and it felt a lot more comfortable fasting for that length of time. The hunger started to disappear a lot more, and I wasn't having all these fluctuations throughout the day where it would be my usual meal time and then my body would be a lot more hungrier. Yes, the hunger did come and go, but it became a lot better to deal with, and you get a lot more comfortable with fasting. For me, I believe that fasting is simply just building up your confidence to fast, and it just becomes easier because you become stronger. If you do a 24-hour fast every single day, when the hunger comes, you're able to control your mind and you're able to say, yes, this is fine, we usually do this is normal. Of course, your body does adapt and it gets used to eating at that specific time, so you're not as hungry throughout the day. I really started to see the benefits come through, so we will talk about what benefits I found. First one I noticed was the mental focus was out of this world. Now, when you are fasting, you are putting your body into a survival state, and when your body is in a survival state, it is very alert and it's very ready. And this is what I found when I was fasting, is that when I'd be on my computer working, I became so much more focused because I was a little bit hungry, and that's what propelled me to such good focus. Now, we needed this back in the olden days. If there was any danger or we were hungry, it would give us the ability to focus and hunt for the animal that we needed. And we are still the same. And this is why when people fast, we find that our mental focus is amazing. Now, the other thing I noticed about fasting is the spiritual side and how mentally good I felt. And it's mentally good in a way of you feel extremely peaceful. It's not like a mental focus where you want to attack the world. More of a very peaceful, you're in a very calm state, and it's very, very nice. You will find that you will feel so much better when you are fasting. I believe that fasting helps bring clarity into our lives, and this is definitely what I found with the OMAD diet. But the other one I noticed, and I thought this would help because I know that fasting helps a lot with this, and this is improved gut health. Now, I found that my stomach felt so much better. I was less bloated. I felt so much better, and my stomach felt so better, and it felt so much more flatter throughout the day, and I felt a lot more comfortable. I thought this would happen because we all know that the more you eat, the more you're digesting food, the worse your gut health is really going to be. The more time we give our gut to heal and give it a chance to clear food out, the better your gut is going to be. It doesn't mean fast for 30 days, but you get the drift that if you're eating every hour, it's not going to give your body time to really focus on digesting that food, and it's going to cause you a lot of bloating. And this is what I found when doing the OMAD diet. My recovery from the gym was a lot better, and I felt a lot less sore. All I can put this down to is that fasting lowers your inflammation levels, and we all know that when you are inflamed, that's where you feel soreness. So if you go to the gym and you feel sore the next day, that is because your inflammation levels are a lot higher. So when you are fasting, it is reducing inflammation because you're not eating food which is causing inflammation. It just felt a lot better in general. Better sleep. I had so much better sleep, and I do not understand why this is, because I was eating my last meal at 8 o'clock at night, which was usually when I do it anyway, so it wasn't like I was eating a lot earlier, but I just felt so much better. And I don't know if that's because my inflammation lowered or my mental health improved, and that caused me to sleep better, and I felt so much more refreshed in the morning. Other one I found was that it was a lot easier for me to be in ketosis, which meant my hunger was down and that I was losing weight. When you're eating on an OMAD diet, it is extremely difficult to get enough calories in, because you are only eating in one meal. And this meant that I had to use a lot more fats when cooking. It meant that I had to eat fattier meats, I had to eat more yolks and less of the protein so that it wouldn't fill me up as much. And there were little things that I had to do to be able to get more calories in. And this is either going to be a positive for someone or a negative, but you will find if you're eating one meal a day, you will lose so much weight. Feel a lot more full and satiated after your meals, because obviously you are eating more. Other one for people is that it's more flexible. This is what you find with it, is that because you have so many calories up at the end of the day, you're able to go and eat with your friends, able to be more flexible, you're able to eat more food that you enjoy. I'm someone that follows a ketogenic diet because I have gut issues. I don't feel as good when I eat carbohydrates mentally, so I wasn't eating carbohydrates, I don't eat sugar, I don't do these things. But I find that for someone who does, maybe you follow an 80-20 rule where you eat 80% healthy and 20% not, this is going to help so much more, and you don't have to miss out on family meals, or you don't have to miss out on going on meals with your friends or your girlfriend. They were the positives I learned from OMAD. I will give you some of the negatives because it wouldn't be fair if I didn't. Negative I found is that it's very stressful on your body. Fasting is not something you should be doing all the time, because fasting is a stressor on the body. Your body does go into survival state when you are not eating, and this causes your cortisol to raise, which is your stress hormone, which of course we all know that elevated stress for long periods of time is really not good for the body. And I found that it was very hard, and my body did feel stressed sometimes, and it wasn't necessarily good for me all the time. And this is what I found, that fasting shouldn't be something you're doing every day. It should be something that you incorporate, but it shouldn't be every single day. And it's also not good for your metabolic health, because your body does start to adapt to these things. Fasting is not something you should do all the time, because it is a massive stressor on your body, and I found this. And the other one I found is that my gym workouts were nowhere near as good as what they are when I'm eating 3 meals a day. And either this is because I'm getting more calories in, or because I'm eating a meal and I'm having a bit more energy before going into the gym, which gives me a lot more energy. I train lunchtime for 16 to 18 hours before doing it, and I didn't change the meal time, but maybe that would have been different if I went in the morning, but that's just how I done it, and I found that my workouts were nowhere near as good. Would I say that this is something that you should follow? I believe that you should fast, and fasting is important, and long fasts are even more important. We all know the science that is backing this at the moment, but should it be something you do every day? Probably not, because it's a very big stressor on your body and it's not too good for your metabolic health if you are eating like this all the time. I would say that if you are someone that has a lot of body fat, you're not going to struggle as much as someone who is a lot leaner, because obviously you have a lot more fat stores than that person, which means you have a lot more energy. For someone that is a lot leaner, it might not be good for your hormones to be fasting all the time and putting that amount of stress on your body. It's all about where you are and how you feel when you're fasting. But I would say that incorporate maybe this 2-3 times a week, and the rest of the week eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner if that's what you feel, or just eat enough food in general so that you're helping your hormones and you're not putting so much stress on your body. I hope this has helped. Please like, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.